Between August 23rd and August 31st, 17 years ago, Hurricane Katrina devastated both the states of Mississippi and Louisiana. And on this 17th anniversary, I wanted to share an amazing Twitter thread posted by Chris Dyer, who is now a teacher in Louisiana, but was once one of the many victims of the hurricane. I'm the same age as Chris Dyer. And like him, Hurricane Katrina was one of the many things that radicalized me in my youth. So I wanted to go over some of the facts that he shared that stuck out to me because these are things that I can never forget. Like how the military-industrial complex and the lie that was the Iraq War helped to drain at least 40% of FEMA's resources, preventing the institution from adequately responding to the crisis. The events of Katrina also highlighted the peak of the military-industrial complex and the militarization of the police when the Department of Homeland Security hired Blackwater mercenaries to protect not the people, but property and wealth in the city of New Orleans. Two of my earliest examples of how all cops are bastards was during the events after Katrina, where police from neighboring and predominantly white towns shot at hurricane victims trying to escape the almost fully submerged city. The events of Hurricane Katrina also taught me the vindictive and nonsensical nature of our government. While the Bush administration was busy neglecting its own citizens, many countries offered humanitarian aid. However, aid wasn't just offered by allies of the United States. Countries like Cuba and Venezuela also offered aid almost immediately after the hurricane struck. But to cut its nose just to spite its face, the U.S. government denied that aid, while hundreds of U.S. citizens were left stranded or dead for days. Despite all the fucked up shit that happened, both during and after the hurricane hit, this event also taught me how mutual aid and community organizing can directly help the people when our government decides to neglect us. While conservative reactionaries were busy trying to turn these devastated areas into their own personal Call of Duty dystopian fantasy, leftists, nonprofits, and even some churches came together to bring resources to the people devastated. It was also a lesson in the importance of immigrants, both documented and undocumented, because it was them that came in and helped to rebuild the city. Despite me being someone who grew up in South Florida and has lived with hurricanes my entire life, the devastation and neglect that victims in Mississippi and Louisiana had to experience is unfathomably atrocious. But I will never forget the lesson that it was the community, the people that came together to save themselves when our government and businesses refused to do so.